In this video, I'm going to show you how to put together a title sheet or a cover page similar to this for an architectural construction document set. And these are the topics that we're going to include on this page. Every office is different, and every jurisdiction is going to require different information. So all of the information that I'm including here is for a project based in Southern California. This is an ADU or accessory dwelling unit project that we're working on. So I'm going to go over some of the things that we include in this. Often the cover page will be one large axonometric drawing, and this will be the second page that has some of the project information. So just keep that in mind. Every office is different, and not all of this is applicable in every jurisdiction. I'll go over not only the information here, but I'll talk about how to put this together in Revit and some of the methods that I use. And that's another scenario where every office is going to have different workflows that they use. One thing that I like to do is use a project template. So if you're just starting a project in Revit and you want to have default text settings, line weights, annotations, Revit families that load with the project, you can use a preset Revit template. This is the one that I like to use. This website, revittemplate.net, has really good resources that you can purchase and use on your projects. If you're working for a bigger office, they'll probably have templates that you can use when you're starting a new project that'll come with sometimes instructions and a lot of other information preloaded into your Revit file. So be aware of that. I'm going to go over the list of topics and the list of elements that we're going to have in this cover page. So the first thing is a sheet index. This is your table of contents. In this set, we have it here. Ignore these lines. This is from the redaction that I did. It added all this extra line work. But we're going to have a drawing list, so also called a sheet index. This is the table of contents that shows all of the pages in our construction document set. So it's going to list the A series drawn by the architect, any engineering, electrical and structural set here. So each of these drawings is going to be included in our set, and we create a sheet index that includes all of this information. The nice thing about this in Revit is that as you're adding sheets, it's going to continue to populate this list, so you don't have to continually update this. You should check the graphics and make sure it's not overlapping any other text on this page as this list grows, and also check the order of these drawings. We may have a general page for the cover page, for example, that might be in the G series. And if we want that to be at the top, there's methods for kind of overriding Revit's rules so that you can change the order of these sheets, or the order of this sheet index. So we'll cover that as well in this video. Every office has abbreviations that they use to make their drawings cleaner and more concise. So those abbreviations are typically copied and pasted from project to project, but these are some typical ones. Again, if you were to purchase a template or to use a template, it'll have abbreviations and things like that. A really good resource for abbreviations is arctoolbox.com. They have a list of abbreviations that are commonly used. You can copy this if you're starting from scratch and modify this per your project. So I'll link this below so you can reference it. Symbols and material legend. So this is a legend that you would create in Revit. We'll go over the basics of getting started with this, just to indicate different earth hatches and hatches used throughout the project, and other tags as well. So that'll be here. Project summary. This is the project name, location, description of the project, including a legal description. So that's based on the assessor number and things like that. We'll talk a little bit about how to get the parcel information and assessor map from the city's website wherever you're working. Zoning information will be listed. Building code information will be listed. So the area of the lot, the setbacks, so front yard, side yard setback, rear yard, the allowed building height, proposed. A lot of the construction document set is, showing what the code requires, and then showing what we're designing, and showing how we meet the requirement, or we meet one of the exceptions for the code. So a lot of what the city is going to ask for, or what the authority having jurisdiction is going to ask for, is for information showing that we meet the building code. We're going to list the lot coverage, so what percent of the site we're taking up. If parking is required, which are the pertinent building codes. So we're using the 2022 California Residential Code. So telling the city what we're complying with, and other information. This is non-sprinklered, so all of that gets listed. The assessor map. So this is downloaded from online. I'll show you how to do this. A vicinity map, zooming out using any map software that has been kind of reduced to remove all of the extraneous company information for local supermarket and things like that. Get rid of all that information. Just have a minimal map like this, and you're going to indicate where your site is in relation to the rest of the project. Okay, so that's something to keep in mind. You're going to want to include that. In this case, the building department required us to list or kind of indicate that we're within a certain distance we're within a radius of 0.5 miles from the nearest bus stop to reduce the parking requirement. So that was something that we had to include specific to this submittal. Project directory, this will include the owner with their phone number and address, their information, and the architect. So our name, our contact information here. And at the top, this is the title of the project number, again, contact information, client information, architect's stamp with a signature. All of that should be included in this. So let's jump into it. I'll show you how to create a lot of this in Revit, and we'll indicate some of the websites that I like to go to do that. So taking this sample project, I'm going to create a view and go to sheet. And we're going to use, this is a existing project that Jojo Crowley put together last year. So I'm taking an existing project and we're going to turn this into a cover sheet. So you may have a separate title block that is particular for the cover sheet, but I'm just going to use this one. This is based on a project that we worked on last year. So the first thing we're going to do, add the title to this. So I'm just going to use text. So create some text. Call this garage conversion ADU. And I'm going to change the text size. So this is pretty small. I'm going to set this to, we'll make this even bigger. So I'm going to go to edit type, duplicate, change this to a larger text size. In this case, I'm going to say 1 inch. And I'll set the size to 1 inch here. So this will be at the top or wherever you designate it. This is, again, up to the architect, but we like to keep things minimal and well aligned in these projects. Okay, so we're also going to create a sheet index or a drawing list. So this will include all of the sheets that are in our project. So to do this, I'm going to go to schedules. We're going to create a sheet list. So the topics that we want to include, we want the sheet number. So I'm going to add that and the sheet name. Okay, so just those two columns, that should be enough. So again, we're creating a spreadsheet of all of the sheets in our project. So this, again, I said, this will populate automatically. So you always have to check this to make sure that it has the relevant sheets that you want and it's properly ordering them as well. A shortcut to changing the order of these, let's say we have a sheet that is out of order and numerically, it's going to do its best to sort these. So if we go to fields, or actually sorting grouping, and it's going to sort by either sheet number or sheet name. So you can set it to sort by the sheet number. So Revit's going to try to determine, the order of these based on this column. So when it does that, let's say, for example, we have something in the G series or one of these drawings that we actually want to change the order of. We want this to be at the top. The way to do that is to create an additional column here and to change to manually set the number or the order of these drawings in this column. So I would say this 217, I want that to be number 1, and then this to be number 2 and 3. And I'll add all of those numbers to this column, and I'll tell this schedule to sort these two columns based on this third one that I create. And then I'm going to go hide this third column. So this workaround is kind of a cumbersome one, but it's something that Revit still hasn't fixed all these years later. So let's talk about that. So let's say we want to create a new column here. So we're going to go to Fields, Edit, and I just want to add generic text to this. To create a new parameter here that's going to be the order of these sheets, I'm going to go to create a new parameter, and we'll call this sheet order. And I'm going to set the data type to text. So this is something that we can just type in and hit OK. Okay, so now I can manually set the order. Let's say I want this to be 1, then this to be 2, 3, and so on. Okay, and so once I've done that, I can then go under sorting and grouping and tell it to sort by this new column that we made, sheet order, and sort by ascending. So now it's going to order all of this by this new column that we created, and I don't want to see this, so I'm going to right click and say hide column. Okay, so with this new schedule that I created, sheet list, we can call this sheet index. And I will see that under my schedules. Okay, so you'll see sheet index here. So I can drag that onto this new title page that I created. I'll put it here. I'm also going to copy and paste abbreviations. So I have abbreviations from this other file. I'm going to copy and paste this into this particular project. So I'm going to select all of this, Control C, dropping it in. So these are my abbreviations and the long format of that text. I'm going to extend this all the way because this is pretty long, and I'm going to use this lightning bolt to break it up. And I'm going to copy my abbreviations generic annotation and paste that here as well. Okay, so I'm going to use this generic annotation throughout this page to give this drawing some order here. Move this over. And again, this is something else that was downloaded from this Revit template. So it'll come with a lot of these titles and abbreviations, things like that. So always modify this to customize it for your own project, but this is a really good starting point. All right, and so we're also going to add symbols and a material legend. So I'm going to select this, CO for copy, put it down here, click once, click again, symbol and material legend. And so for this, I'm going to create a legend. So to do that, I'm going to right click on legends and go to new legend. And I'm going to do this, and I'll call this symbol and material legend. And here what I want to do is create, similar to this, I want to create a series of hatch patterns that I can use as a legend. So I'll do one for gypsum, for rigid insulation, and for concrete as an example. So to do that, I'm going to go to annotate filled region and create a rectangle with the concrete fill. Set that to be a square. And I'm going to add some text. So TX is the shortcut. We'll say concrete. And I would do this for each CO. I would do this for each material hatch that I use in the project. So maybe we'll say stucco. And I'll update this to maybe this gypsum hatch. I'll change this one. And if for some reason what you're looking for isn't here, just select it, go to Edit Type, duplicate it. We'll call this one Earth Hatch. And under Foreground Fill Pattern, click on this, and we're going to set that pattern to Earth. I'm going to set the scale of this to be a little bit larger so that this makes sense as a graphic. And M for move, MV for move, moving these up. Anyway, I could keep working on that to make that look a little bit more presentable, but I'm going to keep going. So we have this symbol and material legend. I'm going to drag that onto my cover page, which we haven't named yet. So I'm going to scroll down to that schedule, that sheet, select it, right click, rename, and we're going to call this cover page. And I'm going to find this legend that I just created, symbol and material legend, drop it in. And it has a title here. I don't want that, so I'm going to select this and say none. And I would populate this whole thing with all of the hatches in my project to be kind of one concise place to look for all of that. And then in my project summary, so I'm going to select this, CO for copy. And if you don't have a template or if you haven't made this, you can just use text to do this with a line and maybe group them. Or you could create your own generic annotation. So I'll create a project summary, and with all of that, again, this is what we're looking for here. So I would just create a text box and go in and cover all of this information: the project name, location, description, legal description, zoning, lot area. All of this should be just here. So you could either create a text box and write directly in this, or you could create a legend and add that text into the legend and then drag and drop the legend into this sheet. Okay, so the next few things, and again, you can also do this for your project directory. So CO, maybe we put this over here. So you can put your company information here, client information. A few more things that we need to include are the Vicinity Map and the Assessor Map. So the Vicinity Map can be a screenshot. I don't like to use Google Maps just because they get too messy, but if we use any of the assessor maps online, so this is the LA County Office of the Assessor, we can use this to either download this image or even, just screenshot this. So for example, I'm just going to take a rough screenshot of this, zoom out to the nearest freeway or highway so that you can get someone to have a good understanding of the location of the project. So in this case, we're pretty far away from the major highways or major freeways here. That might be a little too far zoomed out, so I'm just going to do this. These are some main streets. I'm going to do this. So with that, I can save this file. And I'm going to save this as, call this Vicinity Map. And again, there's probably better ways to download this or to find a more detailed high-res map, but for the sake of this demo, this is what I'm doing. And to drop this into the project, you can go to Insert, and you can either link the image or import the image. If you import, this is a kind of a standalone thing. You can drop this in. If you imagine that this image might need to be updated later on as the project changes, then you can go to link image. And so as you update the link, it'll update this image automatically. So that might be something worth considering. Linked image will update. Insert image will be kind of just pasted in. All right, so this is the vicinity map. We'll give this a name, CO. Pull this up. All caps. All text should be all caps in these drawing sets. Do your best to align things whenever possible. This can move over. And I'm also, we don't have enough room above this, so I'm going to do that. Copy this over. And this one will be our Assessor Map. Line length, we're going to set this to, say, 5 inches. Okay, and so for the Assessor Map, we're going to go back to these websites. So depending on the city you're in, so for example, if this project is in Los Angeles, LA uses this website, zemus.lacity.org. So you can go there, type in your address, and you can pull up the assessor parcel number. With that number, you can go into the LA County Office of the Assessor website, just maps.assessor.lacounty.gov, type in the information relevant to you, and then you can view the assessor map here by clicking on that. And so this will show the tract number and the parcel number. So this is tract number 4463. And you can find the specific plot of land that you're designing with. So once that's downloaded, you can go to, again, we can insert a PDF or import a PDF, or we could link a PDF. So again, if you think this is something that might change in the future, you can link it. And let's drop in this parcel map. I'm going to leave this at 150. If this were a larger PDF, I would say maybe 300, but for now, 150 should be fine. Okay, so I can scale this down. I would probably want this to be a little larger, but for the sake of this tutorial, we don't have a lot of space on this page. One thing you're going to want to do is create a block to indicate that this is the parcel. So this is the tract, and we want to indicate this is the parcel. So you can go to annotate, and Well, actually, let's do this another way. So I can't just create an annotation on the sheet. So what I'm going to do, delete this. I'm going to create, let's see, there's a few ways I could do this. I could just drop in the image, drop in the PDF, but instead I'm actually going to create a legend and drop it into the legend that I can then drop into this sheet. So under legends, right click and say new legend. We'll call this Assessor Map. And I'm going to import, insert, link that PDF here. And so the scaling, I could, scale it here. I can also go to annotate and add a fill region to fill in the specific parcel that I'm working with. Let's see, filled region. We want this to be solid black, and check. So now we have that. We could edit this to be the different color, or if you want to uncheck masking, you could basically make it kind of change its appearance through this. So I'm going to leave this as is, but just be aware that you can change that or make it more clear. All right, and then with that legend, I'm going to drag this into my sheet, not my sheet index. I'm going to find my cover page. Oh, it looks like I created that in the wrong file. Okay, so I'm going to take this legend, drag and drop it onto my sheet, and click on it, set the viewport to none, and this is too large, so I can double click on it and we can set the scale here to be a bit smaller. Double click to get out and drag this in. Okay, so again, this would take a lot of cleanup, but since I'm doing this live, I'm not going to spend too much time on that. But we have the Assessor Map, Vicinity Map, all of the kind of major project information here. One other thing that we would include is some kind of 3D view. So we can take one of our 3D views, once we're happy with that, we can go back to our cover page. And drag and drop this view in. I'm going to turn off the viewport. And I also want to hide all of my grid lines and levels here too, to clean this up a bit. So right click, hide in view, category, should get all of those. Same thing with our levels. You can see the kind of general layout of this cover page. So hopefully this has been helpful. I would set this to maybe G 000 or 001 as kind of a general page for the cover. All right, so hopefully that should help putting together your cover page for your project in Revit.